Welcome to Movies in the Making. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at the 1998 animated biblical film, The Prince of Egypt, released by DreamWorks Pictures and directed by Brenda Chapman, Steve Hickner, and Simon Wells. Here, we will dive deep into the story of the production of this film. This is easily one of the best films to come from DreamWorks Animation because of how much of a work of art it is. And a film like this definitely had so much happening in the making. So, sit back and enjoy the show. You are all in for a biblical ride. Jeffrey Katzenberg pushed for the adaptation of the Book of Exodus because of his deep interest in family stories, particularly those with sibling rivalries, such as the one between Moses and Ramses. He saw this biblical narrative as an opportunity to tell a unique and emotionally complex story about brothers who begin with love but ultimately become enemies due to circumstances beyond their control. Instrumental in the founding of DreamWorks Pictures, Katzenberg made the project a top priority because it offered a distinct departure from typical animated films, setting it apart from Disney's style. He believed the project was a bold risk as it involved adapting a religious story, and he felt that DreamWorks should bring a fresh, innovative approach to animated filmmaking. His vision included not just a visually striking film, but one that used music to convey the story's depth, acknowledging the challenges this would bring. Katzenberg also wanted to ensure the film was not just entertaining, but also thought-provoking, offering educational resources for families to explore its themes in more depth. DreamWorks Pictures secured the rights to adapt the Book of Exodus by consulting a wide range of advisors, including biblical scholars, clergy, and political figures like Reverend Jesse Jackson, preacher Billy Graham, and Rabbi Marvin Ear Katzenberg of Jewish heritage, ensured the film's depiction was culturally sensitive, consulting experts to avoid casting Egyptians as villainous tyrants and giving more significant roles to female characters like Moses' sister Miriam and his wife Zipporah in response to feminist concerns. The studio also added a disclaimer clarifying that the film was not a literal retelling of Exodus. With input from various groups and careful attention to political correctness, Katzenberg aimed to create a film that was historically and socially responsible while also ensuring it appealed to a wide audience, balancing entertainment with sensitivity to complex issues. Brenda Chapman, Steve Hickner, and Simon Wells were the trio of directors behind The Prince of Egypt, and their collaboration was central to the film's success. Initially, Chapman was the head of story at DreamWorks Pictures and had worked with Katzenberg at Disney. When Katzenberg left to co-found DreamWorks, he invited Chapman to join, and although she initially declined a directorial role, Katzenberg's persistence led her to take on the challenge. As the first director, she was later joined by Wells and Hickner when DreamWorks absorbed Emblemation, which brought Wells into the fold, and Hickner's organizational expertise further strengthened the team. Together, they divided responsibilities based on their strengths. Chapman focused on the story and backgrounds, Wells handled cinematography and scene planning, and Hickner took charge of the technical aspects. Their close collaboration and shared vision ensured the film's success, despite initial concerns about their different backgrounds. Val Kilmer's journey to playing Moses was driven by both spiritual reflection and a desire to explore the profound human and divine aspects of Moses' character. Although Kilmer had no prior experience in stage productions and was advised against taking such a risk in his career, he felt compelled by the role's deep spiritual connection. Kilmer was drawn to the character's transformative journey, from a humble shepherd to a leader of his people, and saw parallels in his own life. Kilmer described his decision to take on the role as a result of the spirit of humility, reflecting Moses' own acceptance of great responsibility despite self-doubt. He believed the message of Moses, especially his dedication to the Ten Commandments, aligned with his own spiritual views, making the role a meaningful exploration of faith, struggle, and divine guidance. Kilmer's commitment to this spiritual narrative, despite the challenges it posed, reflected his desire to bring a deeper understanding of Moses' journey to the audience. Ralph Fiennes, known for his roles in historical dramas like Schindler's List, Universal Pictures 1993, and The English Patient, Miramax 1996, was cast as Ramses in The Prince of Egypt for his ability to portray complex characters with depth. Fiennes voices the character of Ramses, the conflicted pharaoh and Moses' adoptive brother. His performance stands out for its emotional range, especially in songs like The Plagues, where he showcases a surprisingly beautiful singing voice. His portrayal of Ramses as a misunderstood villain, torn between duty and his feelings of remorse for Moses, was integral to the film's success. finds his talents and nuanced take on a character help make this one of the most memorable animated feature films to exist. The animation for The Prince of Egypt was created with a team of over 425 animators, artists, and technicians, led by Brenda Chapman, Steve Hickner, and Simon Wells. The film was made using traditional hand-drawn techniques, with some digital effects, like the Red Sea parting sequence. It was one of the last major animated films to use hand-painted backgrounds. The directors aimed for a unique visual style, inspired by French illustrator Gustave Dore, impressionist Claude Monet, and filmmaker David Lean. The animation process was ambitious and meticulous, with the filmmakers ensuring the cultural and historical accuracy while also working to make the film accessible to audiences of all backgrounds. Despite the challenges of depicting complex themes such as slavery and biblical plagues, the film was finished after 4 years of animating. The animation for the iconic Red Sea parting sequence in the film was a complex task that blended traditional 2D animation with cutting-edge computer-generated effects. Henry Labunta, who worked on the scene, faced the challenge of incorporating CGI into a predominantly 2D animated film while maintaining its visual style. To achieve this, the team used 2D animations of splashes and integrated them into the scene using sprites, which gave the effect of a hand-drawn feel. The team also experimented with various software tools, including the emerging Houdini, to create water simulations. While they initially faced difficulties, including figuring out how to depict the massive scale of the event without breaking the film's aesthetic, the team relied heavily on shaders and took inspiration from the backgrounds and concept art designed by Kefi Altieri. This scene alone took a total of 2 years to complete. Hans Zimmer became the composer for The Prince of Egypt after being approached by Katzenberg, who wanted Zimmer to bring his talents to the animated biblical film. Katzenberg had previously worked with Zimmer at Disney on The Lion King, 1994, and admired his ability to create African-inspired music. Zimmer had initially resisted taking on another animated film, yet was intrigued by Katzenberg's approach and the unique challenge of scoring a film based on the Bible. He became deeply involved in the project from the beginning, not just composing the score, but also helping with the arrangement and orchestration of Stephen Schwartz's songs, including the pivotal Deliver Us. Zimmer's involvement was crucial in shaping the film's musical identity, and his willingness to take risks with unconventional ideas, like incorporating Middle Eastern instruments and collaborating with singer Afra Haza, made the soundtrack a key element in the film's emotional impact. The song Deliver Us was written by composer Zimmer, lyricist Schwartz, and co-director Chapman. The team wanted to create a powerful opening that would immediately communicate the Hebrew people's deep longing for freedom, setting the tone for the entire film. The song combines spiritual yearning with a sense of urgency, reflecting the Hebrews' suffering under Egyptian oppression. It was designed to blend emotional intensity with a sense of divine intervention, with the lyrics reflecting a prayerful plea for deliverance. The orchestration, using a large choir and dramatic music, was intended to evoke both the magnitude of the Hebrew people's suffering and their hope for salvation. The team carefully crafted the song to resonate with modern audiences, making it relatable to various forms of suffering, while staying true to the biblical content of Exodus. Mariah Carey performed the song When You Believe for the film with Whitney Houston. Recorded in August, the song would be the first single from the film's soundtrack and also featured on both singers' then upcoming albums. Carey explained to MTV News that Katzenberg showed them both the film separately, sparking their excitement for the project. She described the song as a message song connected to the story of Moses, and noted that despite media rumors of a rivalry, she and Houston had a great time working together in the studio. Carey expressed that the experience was enjoyable, regardless of any past drama. As of the 2nd of April 2025, The Prince of Egypt has an 80% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, a 64 out of 100 critic score on Metacritic, a 7.2 rating on IMDb, and a 4.0 rating on Letterboxd. The film's budget was $70 million and it grossed a total of over $218 million following its initial release date of the 18th of December 1998. The film won the Academy Award for Best Original Song, going to When You Believe by Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston, and it was also nominated for Best Original Score, going to Zimmer. The film was banned in both the Maldives and Malaysia due to religious and cultural sensitivities. In the Maldives, religious authorities prohibited the film because it depicted prophets, which is forbidden in Islam, as all prophets are valued in the religion. Similarly, in Malaysia, the film was banned by the Malaysian Film Censorship Board, though the specific reasons were not publicly disclosed. However, it was suggested that the portrayal of religious figures, particularly prophets, was deemed inappropriate in a predominantly Muslim country. Both bands were linked to concerns over the depiction of religious content in a way that could be seen as disrespectful or insensitive to Islamic beliefs. The film is now owned by Universal Pictures. In 2016, NBC Universal, a division of Comcast, completed the acquisition of DreamWorks Animation for approximately $3.8 billion, making the studio part of the Universal Film Entertainment Group. This acquisition results in a wide range of DreamWorks Animation's assets, such as successful franchises like Shrek, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, and How to Train Your Dragon. As a result of this acquisition, Universal Pictures gained control over The Prince of Egypt, a key DreamWorks film, and became the owner of the rights to the film. The film's success led to the creation of a stage musical, which premiered in London's West End in February 2020. It features music and lyrics by Stephen Schwartz, who worked on the original film, and a book by Philip Lazebnik, the screenplay writer. The stage adaptation includes iconic songs like Deliver Us and When You Believe, and introduces new tracks tailored to the live performances. The production, which first began as a workshop in 2015 and premiered in California in 2017, captivated audience for its vibrant choreography, stunning visuals, and the epic retelling of Moses' journey. The West End debut in London was met with positive reviews, especially for its dance sequences and the emotional impact of the story, making it a natural transition from the animated film to the theatrical stage. And that wraps up our deep dive into the making of The Prince of Egypt. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all things movies in the making. Let us know in the comments what you think of The Prince of Egypt, or if you have any favorite moments from that film we did not touch upon, or what films you would like to hear covered by this channel. Also be sure to check out our community page, where we announce what films we talked about by this channel each week. New posts arrive every Friday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time on Movies in the Making, where we will be talking about Cool Hand Luke, Warner Brothers, 1967, and more films to follow along the way. Tune in for more Movies in the Making as we can cover the stories behind cinema's most unforgettable films. This has been Jason Scotchmer, film enthusiast and passionate about the arts.